morning, students. Today we are going to learn about the chapter The Happy Prince, chapter number 5 of class 9th, written by Oscar Wilde. Here we are going to talk about this story. Actually, it is all about a prince who was always happy. The writer Oscar Wilde has written this, who was called as a man of letters in English literature. Some of his stories have become proverbial. The Selfish Giant and The Happy Prince are the most celebrated stories, not only the Oscar Wilde but also of English literature. Here we are going to learn about the summary of the Happy Prince. This is the story. Once there was a statue of a prince. It was installed on a tall column of the city. They called him the Happy Prince. The statue was covered with gold. It has two bright sapphires fixed in his eyes. There was a large ruby shard in his sword hilt. Now there was the arrival of Swallow. Now a little swallow came and sat at the feet of the statue. He wanted to spend the night at the feet of the statue. He was going to sleep, but his sleep was disturbed when a large drop of water fell on his head. The swallow was totally wonderstruck. There was no cloud and hence there was no question of rain. Then the second drop fell. The swallow was interested in flying away, but then the third drop of water fell, which made the swallow look at the statue of Prince. He found that the drops of water were the tears coming from the eyes of the prince. The Happy Prince told the swallow that when he was alive, he knew no tears. He led a happy life, and that's why he was called as a Happy Prince. But what happened? Swallow does what he asked to do. Why? Because the prince wants to help the miserable people and requested Swallow to help the seamstress who was embroidering flowers on the gowns of the queen. The seamstress was leading a life of poverty. Her little boy was lying ill in the bed, on the bed. The prince asked the swallow to pick out the ruby of his sword and sword hilt and give it to that woman. Swallow plucked the ruby from the prince's sword and flew to the house of the seamstress, and the ruby he put beside of the poor woman. He fanned the boy's overhead. The boy felt better and went to sleep. Now what happened another time? Now the swallow is asked to help a playwright. Now what was happening? Now the prince requested the swallow to help the poor wright. No doubt it was very cold and swallow wanted to go to Egypt, but the prince deputed him to help the playwright. And what happened? He was trying to finish the play for the director of the theater. It was too cold to write anything. At the same time, he was very hungry as well. The swallow, with a sapphire from the prince's eye, helped to the playwright, and now he could finish the play. The swallow wanted to leave, but prince requested him to stay for one more night only. The prince told the swallow about the match girl in the square below. All her matches were spoilt because they had fallen in the gutter, and her father would beat her for not bringing money. She was crying bitterly. The prince asked the swallow to pluck out the sapphire from his second eye and give it to the match girl. So the swallow did, and the girl was very happy to see that sapphire. She thought that it was a beautiful sapphire or stone. And now the prince asked the swallow to fly over the city and tell him what he saw in the city, because now prince is not able to see anything. Now the swallow reports the matter to the prince. The swallow flew over the city and told the prince that there were hungry children. He saw many poor people. The prince requested the swallow to take gold leaf by leaf from his body and give it to the poor and needy people. Now the poor people started laughing and the children enjoyed playing. After helping everyone, the swallow died. Now the winter season set in. Then foresting started. The poor swallow could not tolerate such freezing cold, but as a true friend, he did not leave the prince. The swallow realized that it was not easy to him to survive. He requested the prince to let him kiss his hand. The prince said that he was happy that the swallow was going to Egypt to meet friends there. But he allowed the swallow to kiss his hand. But the swallow told him that he was not going to Egypt but to the house of the death. After saying these words, he fell down and died. Now, when the swallow died, the statue cracked. From inside, it was the heart of the happy prince. The next morning, the mayor of the city and the town councillors visited the place. They declared that the happy prince's statue no longer looked beautiful, so hands should be removed and melted. But when they found that the broken heart could not melt it, they threw it away. So what happened at the last? The God sent his angel to find two most precious things in the city. The angel brought the leaden heart of the happy prince and the died swallow. So the God said, yes, this is the exactly correct things the angel got. Yes, the most precious things. One was the pure heart of the happy prince and the pure swallow who tried to help everyone. So this was today's summary. I hope you understood and enjoyed it a lot. Thank you very much. Be home, be safe. Thank you.